everyone, it's Sharana from Pay Your Weights, and today I'm going to be reviewing Power Book 2, Ghost Family First. All right, before you do anything else, I had the chance to interview Michael Rainey, Naturi Naughton, Latoya. They play Diana, Tasha, Tariq. And make sure you guys go check that out. I had a fabulous time chatting with all three of them. But I also want to let you guys know that for next week, I will actually be out of the country. I do not get these episodes early. So unfortunately, I will not be able to review next week's episode of Power Book 2. If by any chance, you know, if I have time when I'm on vacation to watch, I might just do a quick live just to do a quick review. But 9 times out of 10, I'm probably not going to be able to do it. I'm just being honest with you guys, okay? After Wednesday, I'm on vacation until the 30th, all right? So going into this week's episode, so we see that now that they have the product back, we saw in last week's episode where we saw that Monet, because of her beef that was happening with Kane, put her in a dangerous predicament with her connection. So they're kind of still low on product, but they have enough for Tariq and Brayden to kind of resume their business. Brayden's a little concerned because it is parents weekend at Stansfield. So with parents there, increased anxiety. People need more drugs to study, to deal with their parents, just to get through life. So Brayden's been trying to get Tariq to actually start selling coke. But for some reason, he's just not with the whole coke game. I don't know what that backstory is. Maybe I missed something in previous episodes, but that's just not something that Tariq wants to do. But we see that they're in a classroom, and it was a lot of shade being thrown at the parents. After meeting these mamas, I totally understand how some of these students had these little attitudes that they have. But the way that Lauren's mom was showing off, I was just like, sis, why you being so extra? Were you not the hot girl on campus when you was in college? It felt like you trying to relive some things. So I was just a little bit confused by that. But we see that, you know, Lauren's still a little bit upset with Tariq after what happened in last week's episode when she was trying to put it on him, and he basically put her out, all right? So I thought it was highly disrespectful, though, the way that Lauren's mom disrespected Tasha, saying that, oh, they wouldn't let her out for this weekend. I was like, you know what, ma'am? You lucky it was Tariq, baby, because if it was me, you would have got the hands put on you trying to disrespect my mama like that, all right? My mother is watching. I know that violence is not okay. You keep your hands to yourself. You know, we just supposed to pray the devil out of these people, but sometimes you got to put them hands. But I don't condone violence, all right? I'm just saying that somebody said something about my mama, it's gonna be them hands. So I also thought that for a moment when Jabari was like kind of flirting with Lauren's mom, I really thought that he was gonna smash her because clearly all these people got sex addiction problems in this series. So I really thought that he was gonna end up smashing her mama, and she was totally gonna be down for it. Let's just be honest. But you know what? He kept this little thing to himself, and then she, you know, I was just like, okay, look at y'all proving me wrong. I was really happy for them. Look at that growth there. So Effie popped up. Now, remember a couple weeks ago, I was just like, I understand that we have this Lauren and Diana and Tariq love triangle, but I was like, what happened to Effie? Because Effie actually knew what he did. They understood each other, even though she did do him hella dirty. But I was like, why did Effie pop up in the first episode for her to just disappear again? So I guess the power lords above heard me, and then all of a sudden she pops up again because she was like, baby, it is Parents Weekend. There is money to be made, so I am here to team up with you. We can do a 50-50 split. Whatever you need to do, I am here, but I'm trying to get my coins. And then she's also trying to get a little something else, and then Tariq had to lay it down on her real quick. But yeah. So, but we see that Two-Bit, who got out of jail after testifying at Tasha's trial, he's out, and so he's basically trying to get himself back into the business. Now, I thought it was a little weird that he went to Spanky Mama. I didn't know if he went to her trying to see, like, if people knew that it was him who did something to Spanky. I don't know what the heck was going on, but I did appreciate that he at least gave her some money, even though he was being fake as can be. And then, was it me? Or was he looking really good? I was just like, you know, Two-Bit has never done it for me, per se. But he was doing it for me. Is that the quarantine, like, just talking through me? Like, Beesh, you've been alone a little bit too much. And, like, you really need to find someone. But he was doing it for me. He was doing it for me. It was the jacket for me. That jacket, and then it was just, oh, okay, let me just stop, Lord. Lord, please help me. Please help me. Okay, so he actually ends up, and then Lauren gave him all the details, like, yeah, go here, go there, here's his social security number. I'm like, dang, Lauren, I know you mad, sis, but like, y'all women really be out here snitching when y'all get y'all feelings hurt. And I really need everybody to fix that on this show. So we see that he pulls up on him, pulls a gun like, hey, your daddy owed me this money, you owe me $24K by tomorrow, or it's going to be something. And I was just like, dang, too big. Like, that was a bit much. Like, what he got to do with his daddy, but do what you got to do. I mean, do what you got to do. So we see that he goes to meet with his dad's attorney, which I love. I forgot his name, but I do love that he's getting more work. I just watched him in Fatale, and he's been in a couple episodes of Power, so I'm happy to see him. But we see that he meets with his attorney to try to get help. His attorney like, oh, hold up, you need it for that canonical studies paper you failed? And he was like, dang, you checking up on me? He was like, yeah, if you're trying to get this money, I'm checking up on you. What you talking about? And so essentially he ends up going into business with Effie. And I love that he calls his mom for advice. I really do love seeing like a very strong and healthy, because you know some of these mother and son relationships don't be healthy in these streets. I dated a mama's boy before. It was really like, it was eye-opening, and it was just a bit much for me. So he asked her for advice on what to do when you don't trust someone, because at the end of the day, Effie did betray his trust when she snitched on him and basically got him kicked out of Choate's. And so she basically says you have to make her trust you. And so he does this. He goes into business with her. They get it on. I really like this bit. I was like, Lord, give me the wordsmithing game that he gave Effie in this scene when she was basically like, when she took his shirt off and then he had the gun, and then she was like, it's okay. You don't need this. I got you. She pulled her gun out. She's like, I'm going to protect you tonight. I said, you better, okay? Girl, yes, I love to see it. It was still a little weird seeing Michael do his little love thing. I'm glad they cut real quick, because it was like he like a baby that we didn't see grow up before our eyes, but it was okay. Go ahead and get you some. I hope y'all use protection, okay? Get up in there. So we see that during the course of all of this, you know, essentially, do I want to talk about Kane yet? I'm going to say Kane for last, because Kane really just, he was too much. Let's talk about Zeke for a moment. So Zeke has this big NBA game. The scouts are coming, so he go to see his little professor boo thing, his little teacher boo thing. And essentially, he like show up like, this my girl. And she was like, sir, you can't be showing up here unannounced. Why are you being like so reckless? It's called discretion. Practice it. Know it. Don't blow up my spot. I'm not going to blow up your spot. So she basically tries to make him feel better. And then we see later in the episode, because he wanted her, you know, last week he was talking about how he wants Monet to meet her. And so Monet actually ends up running into them as they're talking. She's checking up on him just to make sure has a good mental space for the game. And Monet was so dirty to her. She was like, is this the teacher that put you on academic probation? And I was like, ooh, Carrie, please tell me that you want that teacher, girl, because she finna put these hands on you, girl. She finna put these hands on you real quick. But she said no. He was like, no, she's actually been helping me. She's my academic advisor and stuff. And Monet looked like, And I was like, cause girl, you know they getting up in there. Stop playing. They getting up in there. Ooh, honey. Lord, send me a Zeke. Just send me a Zeke, okay? My parents are watching. I'm a virgin. But I need a Zeke, Lord. That's COVID-free. That's STD-free. That uses protection. But you know what? I'm out here being abstinent, okay? Because I love the Lord. But you know what I mean. Okay, so we see that they end up winning the game, and they basically go out and have fun at the club, which is really awkward for me, because it was like, I thought Zeke was like a freshman. So how you in the club by yourself though? But I don't know if they're just like, since he's a star, he's on TV, that they just let him do whatever. It's not far-fetched. I mean, I was in the club before I was 21, but still, I was just like, I didn't know. It was just a bit much, and they just felt so lame to me in the club. I'm sorry, they just felt really lame to me. But we see that while they're leaving the club, or at the club, Drew and his little boo thing, which, you know what, I was a little hard on Drew's boo thing, because I like that they have this conversation, because he ignored his phone call, and then Drew called Zeke and figured out where they were. I love the conversation that he had, like, hey, like, everyone's parents isn't as supporting as yours. So this whole, like, be yourself, be out and be proud, that's not for everyone. Also, too, especially athletes who are trying to, you know, they are trying to solidify their lives, their parents' lives. And that's why I do like that they show the pressures that young athletes have, because that's their only shot at giving back to their family. And it's not just about their life. they're responsible for so many other people, which I don't really feel like that should be the case, but that's a whole nother story. But I like that they included that dialogue for Zeke, but also too when Drew's talking to his boo thing. I can't remember his name because he made me mad when he tried to play Drew like that, so I never took the time to know his name. But maybe after this, I'll decide to know his name. He got to do one more good thing, and then I'll figure out what his character's name is. But I like that he, like, kind of let him know, like, everyone's not as accepting. But I also like in the episode that they show, we see people, how Kane's little raggedy girl, like, call him weird. Then we see how the GTG, we see when they get rolled up on by the GTG gang. After everything that transpired, Kane was trying to have Tariq killed at the game. But Tariq was able to escape because he was meeting 2-Bit. 2-Bit ended up saving him. And then it started this whole beef, which I am totally here for 2-Bit asking for more money. Because it was like, sir, you were clearly about to be killed. Like, you couldn't even defend yourself. Like, let's just be honest about this. So I felt him about that. I was like, yeah, you do. I mean, you kind of do owe him more money. Like, you would be dead. So, like, just, yeah, you need to take some self-defense classes, something. Your daddy didn't teach you nothing. Because your daddy could handle people. So I just understand where we had that disconnect. But I guess it was he was trying to make you better than him and not be in this life. But you got to do something. So we see that Monet ends up getting mad at Drew. Because when Drew figures out what is happening with GTG, we saw that his boo thing saw him beat the brakes off of old dude. He was about to kill him, but Zeke stopped him. But I was like, oh my goodness, they was really going to shoot Zeke in the knee. I mean, it was a great play. But I was like, dang, like not that you was going to shoot him because that would hurt her more than one of her kids getting shot. Because we saw, she was telling Drew that we depend on Zeke and his money. So if we ever need to leave the drug gang. So Zeke is her plan B. That's her out option. So I hate this subplot with Jabari. Let me finish talking about Jabari real quick. I hate this subplot where Jabari's following him, where he's giving Tariq these extra credit classes to try to catch him in his lie that he's sleeping with Carrie, even though he's not sleeping with Carrie. But I'm like, why do you care that he's sleeping with Carrie? Because you were sleeping with one of your students, so why can't she get it on with one of her students? I just didn't understand. It's like he's the ultimate F-boy, intelligent, fine as hell, but he's like manipulating her because it's like, so it's okay for you to like do a little bang bang with the student next door, but she can't do the same thing. I mean, let me be clear. None of these people are right. Okay. They're all wrong. But I just felt like that was a bit much. I didn't care for the double standard there. And the fact that he's following him, using his words to write his book like nobody's going to find out, or like Tariq can't just sue him when he sees this, it's kind of crazy to me. And the danger that he's putting himself in by following Tariq now that he knows about course correct. He saw Drew. He's kind of getting all these tidbits, even though he doesn't necessarily know the full portion of all that Tariq is actually into, which I feel like, Jabari, you're probably going to end up being killed either by the end of season 1 or season 2, but it's going to happen for you because you're just being nosy for no reason. You come by your business and just ask the Lord to help you and give you guidance for your writer's block. So that was, I just need to get that off my chest. Also too, Brayden, I feel bad for Brayden. So he realizes that someone's selling coke on the campus. Tariq ends up lying to him about Effie being there, runs into Effie. Effie's upset. Every time I say Effie, I be like, Curtis was supposed to love me. I'm sorry, that had nothing to do with anything. But he lied to Tariq. Tariq finds out because Effie, in her feelings, basically gets upset and then tells him what was going on. Also, I didn't know that Brayden had a crush on Effie. That was like a revelation to me. And then when he gave her that hug, I was like, sir, you're doing the most. But then she snitches, and then Brayden just confronts Tariq, and he quits the business. So I don't know what the heck is going to happen, because Brayden was like the mastermind kind of behind that. That was like a joint effort. So I don't know what's going to happen at this point. But what I do know is the look on Kane's face when Tariq showed back up at that game. He was pressed, baby. He was real pressed. And so we saw that the GTG person basically was like, I'm going to kill you, Kane, because he feels like he set him up, he finessed him, and they got into this shootout at the end of the episode. He ended up killing everybody but the leader. Tells the leader, you're going to work for me now, you're going to give me everything. But because Tasha finds out what happened, because Tariq calls and tells her, she calls Lorenzo and like, hold up. Let something happen to my son, okay? I'm going to make sure to take what you love, okay? Do it again and see what happened. I was like, yes, let him know. But I was like, what is either one of y'all about to do when y'all sit up in this jail cell together? But it's like, Girl, tell him. Go off then. So Lorenzo ends up calling Monet and telling Monet what happened. She figures out that Kane is the one who was responsible for all of this, and then basically Kane is dead to her. I felt that when he showed up and Diana was like, "Nah, you went too far. You can't come back. Here's some money. Get out of town." I felt that like his whole family abandoned him, but it's really his own fault. But you can't help to feel sorry for him at the same time. But I am happy that she was able to acknowledge that Drew does have leadership skills. He might not be as crazy as Kane and Monet, but he knows enough to make clear, rational decisions. And especially when she talks about how he took the blame in order to just make peace instead of having this beef. But clearly that didn't work because Tariq told his mom called Lorenzo called Monet, and the game telephone, and then he basically ended up getting stitched on. So, I like that Monet and Tariq, they meet up. She basically like, hey, he's dead to me. He's not a part of this family anymore. I didn't sanction this hit. This is all him. Understand I can't stop him from coming to get you, to try to kill you. However, if I find out that you're trying to seek him out, I'm going to kill you myself. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye. I felt that. I was like, okay. She still loves her son, but she got to show him some tough love right now because he been wilding and she need to put him back in his place. He probably shouldn't have hit her. That's what started this whole thing. You should have just kept your hands to yourself, even though he wasn't trying to. But I'm just saying. But I'm interested to see how this is going to end up. Now that Kane is trying to start his own game, we see in the previews that she was like, don't mention that name in my presence anymore when Tariq brought up Kane's name. But it seems that he's causing some trouble not only for her, but for Tariq. So it's interesting to see how those dynamics are going to play out. If any of the other kids are going to get uncomfortable about Tariq and Monet's relationship, as I assume that they will get a little bit closer. Even though I thought it was funny when Monet made that face, like when she was sitting between Tariq and Diana, she was like, hey, she was just like, oh, they get on my nerves. But I like this episode. I like where we're going with it. I hope that Riley doesn't get off that easy. I still hope that it comes out that Riley was spying on Tariq. I don't know what's going to happen between him and Brayden, but I feel like that's the relationship that you don't want to mess with, especially since he has this raggedy brother who's been trying to snitch on you since all of this stuff transpired in the first place. So I don't know what he's going to do. I do hope that I like Effie the most for him. I was like standing Diana and Tariq, however, I don't want them together because like business and pleasure. But I do like that Effie understands Tariq and he can fully be himself. I still don't feel like he can be that way in front of Diana because he's still learning to trust again after Effie betrayed him. But I just want these women to like not be in their feelings so much. And when these boys start giving you issues, like, baby, just act like it don't matter. Y'all just doing all this like snitching for no reason because your feelings hurt. Just let it go, boo-boo. But yeah, I like this episode. I like where we're going. I hope Jabari gets his by the end of this season or the beginning of the second season because he's doing the most for no reason. But yeah, and I wonder how Carrie and Zeke's relationship is going to get blown up because it's going to have to get blown up because they being way too reckless, especially when we saw Zeke go to her place after he got almost got shot. I thought that Jabari was going to be outside waiting to see when he was coming out, but he wasn't. I guess he was too busy trying to rewrite Tariq's paper to put in his book. But yeah, I'm really excited to see all of that's going to play out, or if Monet is going to confront Carrie herself. So I want to see what happens with that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Power. Book 2 Ghost episode. What episode is this? I don't even know. Episode 7, I think. Family First. As always, my name is Sharonda from Paraways, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye. basically gets upset and then tells him what was going on.